Okay, so the first set of words that I got were moon, peony, and cold, and almost right away I was inspired by the peonies because I personally love peonies. They're my favorite flower, and I desperately want to get a peony tattoo. My idea is actually kind of nerdy. It's Naruto inspired because y'all know that I've been watching Naruto since I was literally in elementary school. I have this idea to get like a very crisp like hand line work outline of the unison sign and then some peonies underneath it, and maybe incorporate the moon somehow. I'm not sure because I do have plans to get a cover-up tattoo that involves the moon, so I don't know if I want several different moon tattoos. But overall, peonies and tattoos are something that are connected with me, so obviously this gave me the idea to give the character a tattoo sleeve of peonies, and of course that is when I had the idea to also incorporate the moon into that tattoo sleeve. As for the cold, I decided that I'd rather sort of like, rather than doing like an element of like, oh, she's physically cold, she's chilly, she's like a snowy inspired character or something like that, like something with a big like coat or something to keep her warm. I thought I'd rather incorporate that aspect into her personality. I wanted to give her like a very cold, like icy looking stare where she's more like metaphorically cold, maybe a little bit mean looking. I also obviously chose to give her a very cool toned color scheme so that I can incorporate that element a little bit more, just because the idea of cold is so broad that I felt like it was probably better to incorporate that in a couple of different ways. Um, I think overall my favorite bit of her is of course the peonies, although I feel like they could have been a little bit stronger. Florals are just something that are like very hard for me to do, and I have to heavily reference them, but I'm hoping to improve on the stylization of those soon. I also really like her long blue hair. I think it looks very silky and just pretty in general. Um, I think like just the idea of having so much like navy, very like striking hair, and then of course the other blue elements in her lips and on her eyes are just, it's very pretty, and I do really like it a lot. She's kind of giving me like human Vriska vibes now that I think about it. Like navy blue mean girl is very pretty with tattoos, very Vriska like, but I still do like the illustration overall. So with that, let us get into the next one. Okay, so the next set of words I got were mango, sunflower, and brimmed hat, and this one was interesting because I had a little bit of difficulty as to how I was going to incorporate the mango element. I knew right away that I was going to keep the hat as is, of course, just because like, I'm sure if you're very creative, it's easy to just make a hat something other than like a hat, but I thought it was best to keep it simple and sort of just have it as more of a supporting element. And I also knew that I wanted to turn the sunflower, into some sort of pattern on her shirt, but I was really struggling with the mango aspect because I didn't want to just draw a girl eating a mango, but I also didn't want to make, of course, another pattern like I was going to do with the sunflowers, and I really couldn't figure out a way to incorporate a mango other than a girl just holding a mango. But while I was still in the planning stage and writing down all of the options for each illustration and how I could sort of break down and incorporate those words, I finally landed on just stealing the colors from a mango to incorporate it into the hair. I also wanted to give her a, like, I can't remember if it's ripe or unripe mangoes that are red and yellow versus red and green, but I wanted to go with the red and yellow one because I felt like the yellow would tie in the yellow from her sunflower shirt and just sort of like draw that color throughout the illustration so that it wasn't like a random color that didn't make any sense like it would have been had I gone red and green like a regular mango, or at least like the more common mangoes I've seen. But yes, so I wanted to go red and yellow, and I also felt like that color scheme would look just really good against her hat and make some really nice contrast there. And at the same time, I also felt like it did a good job of conveying the sort of summery vibe that I was getting from the overall illustration, whereas red and green, I felt like while it can look tropical, of course, with like parakeets and all the like, I just felt like red and green is always Christmas to me, and I've tried so hard to make things besides watermelons look red and green and summery and tropical, but I can't do it. So I decided to go with the red and yellow, and overall I do really like how this one turned out. So let us get to the final. Okay, so the final words we have are grape, crystal, and anger, and I was immediately drawn to these words because out of all of these, I felt like, of course, they're really interesting in terms of character design, but I also felt like they were interesting in the fact that I didn't really know how to bring them together at first. I really did struggle with an idea for this illustration until I got the idea to give it a little bit of backstory, do a little bit of storytelling through the character design itself, and the expression and things, of course. But initially, when I saw the grape and crystal together, I remembered that there was something called grape agate, which is a beautiful crystal, but not something that I felt translated very well into an illustration because it's sort of, it's hard to describe. It's like a mass of like these little purple round crystals, obviously, and they're all bunched together, so unless you are aware like that this is a crystal, it just sort of looks weird as an illustrative element. So I didn't feel like it would translate very well into an illustration, so I had planned to have the grape element incorporated into her hair with a sort of twin bun style, but obviously you can tell that I have changed my mind because I realized I could create like a sort of fantasy type character who I imagine maybe did something like to anger a mage or something of like related sorts, but I thought it would be cool to think about like maybe she was like attacked or cursed with some kind of like crystal-y magic thing. So I had it growing out of her eye and various parts of her face to incorporate the anger element because obviously I wanted to make her look angry, but also somehow sorrowful, obviously, because, like, obviously I imagine this would feel pretty painful, and therefore it makes somebody angry, so I thought that was a really good way to tie it all together. I hope that the crystals can translate well. I tried to make them really shiny, obviously, because, again, they are crystals, but I'm just worried that it will look sort of not like crystals. I don't know how to describe it. It has a very fleshy looking thing. It's hard to describe. I can see it in my head, and I can see on the illustration obviously that I was struggling with trying to make it not look like she has purple meat growing out of her face. But yeah, I hope that that translated well and that you guys liked this illustration as well. So yeah, here are all three final illustrations. They should be scrolling through individually on screen now. I hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. Don't forget, if you liked it, I still have more words that I can use, so I can absolutely do a part 2, possibly even a part 3 if you guys want me to. So if you do, be sure to like this video and leave a comment. And again, if you did like this video, don't forget to subscribe and maybe check out the Patreon so you guys can get a shout out along with dope people like Elise Thompson and a ton of cool prizes like wallpapers, coloring pages, and eventually Patreon exclusive postcards and stickers. I love you guys. Don't forget to submit your draw this in your styles entries, and I will see y'all Saturday.